In a world where quality business information is needed, we bring you On the Mic with Mike, the leading social enterprise business show in RVA. Join Mike King, the partnership guru, as he delivers game changers in Metro RVA. On the Mic with Mike showcases how business can help make society better. He discusses tech, culture, innovation, best business practices, and highlighting area nonprofits. Join Mike Monday through Friday, because it is the place where the best and brightest come to chat.
Hello from Washington, President JB here. Whenever Jill and I leave in our car, we tune into our guy, Mike King Biz on ESPN Rhythm.
Mike King is a businessman. He's a businessman with his own talk show. On the Mic with Mike is the best business radio program in the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic with Mike. Mike King here. This is part of the Mike King Biz Media Network, ESPN Richmond 106.1, where you find me 5 to 7 a.m. International Business Group Radio, Saturdays 10 a.m. Eastern, CW Richmond TV. That's where we are, 5 a.m. Wednesday and Friday. Alrighty, it is the place where the game changers come to talk. You can follow me on the socials at Mike King Biz, as well as On the Mic with Mike. All right, so folks, we got royalty in the building. The coach is here. Coach Hicks, Chester's finest. Him, but not Chester, Virginia. No, we talking Chester, Pennsylvania. That's right, I'm a Pennsylvania geek. Y'all know it. All righty, so Coach, welcome to the program, sir.
Good morning, my brother.
All righty, Coach, it's a business show, so tell folks who you are, what you do.
Well, I am Coach Hicks, and Mike, if you don't mind, let me start off with a story. Recently, we had a graduation in our office for guys in our program, and what we do with the guys is some of them have never graduated from anything, so we adorn them with caps and gowns, and they come out, they march, and when they marched in, one of the mothers started crying, and I said, "Ma'am, why are you crying? This is a joyous occasion." And she said to me, "I've been waiting to see my son walk across the stage since he was in the 5th grade. And now he's 30 years old." And so, Mike, what I do is I am the fatherhood coach. I help fathers understand the importance of their involvement with their children and how that impacts their future lives. We are also fatherhood advocates. And so, we partner with people such as yourself, Mike King Biz, y'all, and seek other community resources, because no one organization can meet all the needs of one particular father or family.
And the name of the organization is?
We are My Brother's Keeper of Greater Richmond.
My Brother's Keeper. You've been at this for a minute or two. You have been changing lives for a long time. So that mother, that wasn't the first time you heard that.
No, sir.
It was not. But every time you hear it, it's something.
Yeah.
It is something, because you changed a person's life. Mom had been waiting forever, and all of a sudden that thing happens. So you went through. Now I remember back in the day. I hate to sound like the old man, but back in the day, you guys used to have people getting them with suits. You partner with a lot of people and help people with guys with the dressing and all that. COVID kind of kiboshed that, but you guys still kept rocking and rolling during COVID and after. Talk about what you learned coming through COVID, and then what you do today, how it's changed you.
Well, one of the things that we learned through COVID was that, we always knew that families were under attack. And so COVID brought about isolation. You had to separate. And so we knew that was going to have devastating impact on the community. And so fortunately, we were able to find organizations like the Metropolitan Business League.
Shout out to Floyd and MBL.
That helped us during that period with funding that allowed us to switch to virtual facilitation. And a big lesson that we learned from virtual facilitation was that it was more accessible to guys than trying to travel to a group and so forth. And so we had bigger participation, we had bigger interaction, and guys loved it. And so
Because back then, you guys were on Whole Street. Sometime it may have been a challenge for some people to get to you.
Absolutely.
And now all of a sudden,
They have access.
okay, what type of programs do you have?
Well, we teach 3 courses. We're partnered with the National Fatherhood Initiative, whose programs are really evidence and research based. So we use 24/7 DAD, which is a community curriculum that we use for guys in the curriculum. Anybody can sign up, any agency can refer, guys can refer themselves. We also have Inside Out Dad, where we actually go into facilities and when fathers are about to come out within a year or so, and we begin to help them with their transition and understand some of the changes and issues that they're going to face trying to integrate back with their families. And then we also have an online platform where guys who it's not accessible to either the community or the group, they may have time constraints with courts and things like that. We even have an online platform where they can go through self-paced.
Now, a lot of times it would seem like if you and the missus, shout out to Mrs. Who is doing some great things out there, journalism extraordinaire.
Yes.
Okay.
Gotta shout out my wife, Monica Haynes, who's up in Pennsylvania today.
There we go. It's that Pennsylvania thing.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you talk about making magic happen, so you went through the pandemic, how are people doing in the streets now? Like we didn't came through the pandemic, people isolated. When you see people and they show up at the doorstep, what's it look like to you now?
I'm glad you asked, Mike, because we're really boots on the ground. Families are broken. People are broken. Mental health is running rampant. We've all experienced a lot of trauma, and folks just don't generally know how to process those things.
When are we better at the mental health thing than it? Because our people, we always just like, yo, pull yourself, we ain't got time. We ain't got time for all that. We're good. And you ask the men all the time, we're good. And we're not good.
We're not.
Are we better now with the understanding the openness of the people that you talked about getting mental health help?
Not initially. There's a stigma in our community about just seeing doctors in general, because of things that have happened to us and, things that we see from our parents that may not have necessarily been true. But I think that mental health is a part of holistic life, and we need to be addressing that. And I think with our guys, one of the things that point them towards that is my development with them in a relationship. And so I'm able to show these guys how much I care about them first, and how important they are to me. And through that advice and my examples and my leadership and how I work with them, they grow to become comfortable. Hey, I do need these types of things.
One of the things I always talk about is you and Monica are a power couple. You do different things. Like she's on the journalism side, a heavy hitter.
Yeah.
You're on the side, but you come together because she's the one who a lot of times have made the things happen, the connection with us to get the word out there. When a lot of these young guys see you and her, they've never seen anything like you guys before.
And you're absolutely right, Mike. And she came to me at the right time. She is a woman that I prayed for God for. She's my third wife. And I failed twice. And I said, you know what? I'm a bad decision maker. God, I'm going to wait for you to send someone. And, she's someone from my past. We reconnected.
So she's from Chester too.
She is from Chester.
All right, so shout out to, so I lived on Highland Boulevard. Shout out to Chester, Pennsylvania. So you guys are in Chester. You go your own ways.
Yes, correct.
End up back together. Now when people see you guys, they see this power couple really. She's a person who understands people and helping. You were doing that, and now they see Black marriage that a lot of them had never seen.
Yeah. Well, again, God is at the foundation of our marriage. And so both of us prayed for this. And then we both brought unique gifts to the table. And those gifts just jive. And she showed me her heart early on in the game. Because when she decided to move here, she living in Pittsburgh at that time. When she decided to move here to be with me, her statement was, I'm coming to help you grow your organization.
And if it's someone who can help grow the organization, because that's straight up organizational skills that Monica has.
Man, it was empowering, she helped me see, for one, that I'm the face of the organization.
You know what? Yeah, you're the face of, okay, on the mic of Mike King, I gotta go for a second. The coach is in the building. The coach, this is not the way normal people do interviews. But look what I got right here. On the mic with Mike.
Yeah.
Here we go. All righty. Long time ago, 2016, I meet up with the coach and we talk about his organization, and they gave me, there you go, the Manny Award. Coach, talk about, all right, let me talk about what it meant to me. This was like trying to help the community, and it said somebody believes in what I was doing. So I appreciate this right here. Let's talk about how the Manny Awards and all that came about. So you didn't know. Did you miss that?
I did.
There you go. That's the Manny Awards, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. In the studio. Here we go. That's it. All right, let's talk about the Manny Awards.
Well, I'm gonna make a long story short. My wife is the inspiration behind the Manny Awards. She really admired the work that I did. And she always heard me talk about what I felt were unsung heroes. The media always spins the negativity about men and so forth. And I just felt there wasn't enough positive messages. And that resonated with her. We were sitting in bed one night watching the Grammys. And one thing that stuck out to me with the Grammys is how superficial it is, with the fashion, the glam, and this, that, and another. And I know they're recognizing people for their work. But I said, wow, wouldn't it be, she actually said this, wouldn't it be amazing to have a program of substance that actually awards people for their work and their value? And I said, wow, that sounds good. What should we call it? And she said, God said, the Manny Awards.
And the Manny Awards were birthed. You have a lot of great things going on. I always say, talk to people who are in great organizations. Changing the world ain't cheap, easy, or free.
No, sir.
No, money got to change hands somewhere. Let's talk about the groups and the people who help you guys make it on a day-to-day.
Okay. Can you clarify a little bit?
So, who are the groups and folks who help you guys out with support? Whether
Okay,
it's money
absolutely,
support, whether
absolutely.
it's in kind. Talk about some of those folks.
Okay, absolutely. I like to shout out Tailor Made Modeling Agency, who is a male modeling agency. They're one of our biggest supporters. Mr. Nathan Womack is the owner of that organization. Also, I'd like to shout out Frank Rustin. He calls himself the real estate champion.
Frank Rustin,
The real estate champion.
Oh, I never
And
met
so
him.
he's also one of our biggest supporters. And then we really have supporters who are, some people would say small, but they're huge to us, because anytime you reach out to them, they're always, Coach, what do you need? That would be Jimmy Bailey, Donald Edwards, and many, many others.
All righty. What is something that you guys could use right now? I mean, we're always in the season of helping, so we got to put it out there. What's something that you guys could use?
Well, Mike, I'm glad you mentioned the pandemic, because, during the pandemic for nonprofits, some funding was available. Now that we've come out of that, some of that funding is actually dried up. And so I like to say we're between a pandemic and a rock.
Tough place to be.
Yeah. So, and we don't like to charge our fathers for services.
Because that cuts some people out. No matter what the amount is, there's somebody who can't cover that.
Absolutely. And it presents an additional obstacle. They're already going through trials. They're coming to us from courts, social service, and things like that. So we know there's a multitude of issues. So we don't want to put more roadblocks in their path. So what I do is I seek contributions, donations. I try to partner with people. I'm even willing to barter, our courses if organizations would like me to come in and provide our services for some services that helps us. I'm very willing to do that.
How can people find out information about My Brother's Keeper?
The most informative place is our website, which is mbkgrva.org, O-R-G.
Mike King, the coach is in the building. When he walks in, this is what's played. Let me turn down. I won't get crazy. Mike King says. There you go. Coach is here with us. Coach, always talk to our leaders about culture. Like, how do you set culture? Because, and when you get to a certain point, when people see you, where they talk about you at a certain level of a wow factor. Like, yo, that's a good guy right there. He's doing some good work. Talk about putting the culture out there and how do you set good culture?
For me, it's about, integrity, character, morals, and values. And where are those things established? They're usually established from your faith. One of the things that I'm really seeing, Mike, is that 70% of the African-American community, as an example, men in particular, are no longer interested in marriage.
Wow. So
that's even a more of a decline in family structure. What with the violence that we're seeing in our communities can be traced back to the root of a fatherless home. God is really showing me that we, as African-American men, we are failing to raise our children in godly instruction.
So when you see a lot of that, you see a lot of the guys who are out there, you're teaching them ways and things that they had never seen or heard before.
They're foreign to them. Most fathers think that fatherhood is simply about providing and protecting. They're not nurturers. They're not aware of the deep things that impact their children's emotional, social, physical, and mental health development as a child.
So, Coach, when people knock on the door, you've seen some hard ones. You see dudes who've seen and been through a lot. And then you see the light come on.
Yes.
Let's talk about when the light come on.
Hallelujah. Man, when that light comes on, it's just not, you
cannot work.
Describe it. I mean, you can just see it, you sense it, they begin to own it, they begin to act it, and then they begin to live it. And, just to see the transformation, it's amazing what I can see in 12 weeks.
Right.
3 months of work. But this is work that they've never done for themselves.
And on top of that, so when they show up, it's just, I always say to people, women can sit down and bond real quick. Guys got to go through some stuff.
Yeah.
So guys, say 12 guys show up. They don't know each other really, whatever. And then you see them over the course of the time. And all of a sudden they getting to be a crew. This may be the first time that they are here with a group of people like-minded. Let's leave the shenanigans and the foolishness back there. And let's go. So talk about when you see them as a group, like you said, over 12 weeks. About which week do you start to see, all right, there may be something here?
Well, in the beginning, there's a little resistance. We go through about week 1, 2, and 3. I mean, they're involved, but they haven't bought in.
Okay, yeah, all right, yeah, okay. So
week 4 and 5, you start to see a little bit of melting. By 7 and 8, you really begin to see some cohesiveness come together. The guys are actually holding one another accountable. They're now reaching out to one another and contacting each other outside of the class session. It's creating that brotherhood that they've never had, and support system.
Truly my brother's keeper.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what you're doing. We're holding each other accountable, because it can be a powerful thing of getting people moving all in the right direction. All right, so at the end of the 12 weeks, that's when you guys have the celebration.
We have our celebration.
And so when you see the people right there, what are some of the remarks or thoughts of the people who are graduating? I can imagine it's a big time for them.
Well, Mike, I can really relate, and a lot of things that I do were because of things that I suffered myself. I dropped out of high school, so I never had a graduation until I was in my 30s or 40s. And I knew what it meant to me when I had one. And so, just to see when you're we like to call it adorning these guys in their robes. Just to see their reaction, and some guys comment, you know, and they're teary-eyed. I've never had one of these. And to have men who adorn them with, man, that's powerful. And then we crown them with their cat.
It don't get better than
It
that.
don't get better than that.
And so they walk in, they look at life in the world different than they did 12 weeks ago, because now they're starting to see some things that they hadn't seen before.
These guys are more self-confident. They believe in themselves. Their relationship skills are better. And for me, one of the most important things is they're communicating better, meaning they're processing. They're not holding stuff down as usual. Now they're communicating with me, with other guys and so forth about the things that they're going through in daily life.
There you go. Coach is here with us. Coach, how can we find information out about you?
Well, you can reach me at 804-502-3239. Our email is mbkgrva@gmail.com. And of course, on our website, www.mbkgrva.org. We're also on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram.
Everywhere.
Everywhere, bro.
All right, so you're gonna be coming back again you're gonna be coming back to the program. What can people expect when you come back with us? You told us the story of my brother's keeper. Now, what can we expect the other times you come out? Because people are wondering now.
Well, Mike, I'm glad you asked, because you know we adapt as we see needs, and one of the things that we see is the school violence, and younger people are getting or shooting one another, and so we're planning an initiative to go into middle schools to establish a mentoring program so we can begin to reach our younger men earlier, specifically on the issues of conflict resolution and anger management, and teach them how to be better at that. And then we're also going to be launching a new men's wellness and health program as well.
All right, Coach is here with us. Make sure you check him out, because you know what, like I said, it's the Manny 2016. Mike King, there you go, man. Well, I feel like this and I'm walking in the building.
Mike King is on the Mic with Mike, Richmond's premier business radio platform.
Judge how you judge it, say we going corporate. Nah, we just corner boys with the corner office. We like to capture what Smith said.
All right, Coach is here with us on the Mic with Mike. Hey, make sure you take care of him, his sponsors, all the folks who support him. Mike King, he's here he's here with us. We're gonna work with him, because I always say changing the world ain't cheap, easy, or free. This microphone ain't free. Plus, my grandkids need stuff.
My name is Isabel, and you're listening to Mike King. That's my jam.
On the Mic with Mike, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks now. Take care.